The Super Pershing, Tier 8 Premium American Heavy Tank. Yeah, I mean heavy tank, because that is what this tank is. This is what happens when you slap some big old armor plates onto a Pershing, but forget to redesignate what the tank is actually meant to do. The problem with this tank is not that it's bad, it's that it just can't do its job it's meant to do, and it's been left behind with the times. Gone are the days when you would expect the game to last more than 2 to 3 minutes, and gone are the days where 200 penetration was completely fine, and you could actually aim for weak spots at tanks, but now those weak spots are 250mm thick sometimes. Not to mention that with field modifications in the game now, it really is time to redesignate what the Super Pershing actually is. Oh, and if you think that those armor plates added to the tank are going to do anything, well, they don't work as good as you think they would. So this is what it looks like when you are firing at a Super Pershing using 202 standard pen, which is the default for the Super Pershing. So this is firing against itself. As you can see, yep, gun mantlet and stuff like that, good, but you're never going to aim at that. What they are going to shoot at is the cupola. And 200, 203, 206, it's pretty easy to pen this thing. And adding all this armor has only made it go a bit slower, and sure, its survivability has increased, but it's riddled with weak spots around the place that you got just below all of this armor. You could just go in between here, and that's only 138mm thick. Remember, this is with 200 standard pen. Not to mention that there is still the weak spot here, which every single tank should have in my opinion. Aim for the little machine gun port and go for the cupola. Like, they're the only real ones that you should be going for. But we need to remember that this tank can meet tier 9s, and this is against an Armour 2 gun. So it has 252mm pen standard, and then 300 heat rounds, which are, that's probably some of the lowest ones. You could meet like a phase 1, which a lot of people are going to have because of the campaigns that have gone on. But an Armour 2 is just going to look at you and just think, yeah, that's pretty easy to pen. Even your hull armor, it's just going to go straight through it. And when it loads heat, it just makes the situation even worse. This thing does not do well against tier 9s. It requires it to be fighting tanks that have around about 230 pen, or, you know, around there, and then maybe 250 at most. As soon as you go higher than that, it's basically game over for it. It really is. Like, it's one of those tanks that is meant to be a tier 8 tank, and just nothing more. It used to be that preferential premium tanks were the tanks that you would get, and they would be worse off than the normal tier 8s. And it's true still here. And it really does feel like when you're playing this tank that you're tier 7.5. And you are meeting those kind of tier 10 tanks, even though that they're tier 9s. So it might be great that you meet only tier 9s. Hooray! However, you are going to meet tier 9s a lot, because there's a lot of tier 9s now in the queue, and there's a lot of tier 8s in the queue. So you're going to meet a lot of those tanks, and it's just not really very fun. Another not so fun feature about this tank is that it will spawn bottom on Westfield, unless you get lucky and you go up. So you already are slower than a Pershing, and you now have to travel all the way up the hill just to get to the location that you're supposed to be at. 1 minute into this game and I've nearly made it to the point that I should have spawned at the start. Well, now that we're here, we might as well talk about this thing. Yeah, the Super Pershing. It has about 1.8k kind of standard DPM with 100% crew, give or take a little bit. This is not a good DPM tank, and combine that with the fact that it doesn't even get that good alpha at 240 as well, you can tell it's a medium on the heavy tank body. If this had 300 alpha, I'd say this would be pretty decent actually. But the fact that it doesn't, it just means that you're always just wanting more alpha. And with nowadays tanks, you either need to have the alpha damage or the DPM, and this tank has neither. So it's such a sorry state, and the thing is, you can make this tank work. You can make any tank work in this game. But it's not going to be that tank that you think to yourself, oh yeah, I should really, you know, I really enjoy low damage and low alpha and, you know, low DPM. Like, look how long I'm waiting for these shells for just 240. The Lerva gets bad DPM, but at least a Lerva is more accurate, has higher alpha, has better pen. I mean, sure, it's going to see tier 10s, but it doesn't really matter when you think about it, considering that this is kind of tier 7 and a bit. And in these fast types of games, you're going to struggle to get kind of any use out of this. Especially considering, look, it's 11-0. I'm waiting. Sitting here, just... It's one of those types of tanks, you know? It doesn't do anything fast. And we done all of this. Think about how much we were shooting for 1.3k damage. Oh, let's hope this guy gets spotted now. And then we can get at least one more shot in. Oh, okay. Well, he's all over the other side. Rip. Yeah, 15-0. And these games are pretty much how the World of Tanks is nowadays. At least on the plus side, it does get a decent amount of health. Base, at least. Like, you could put HP boost on this, and you can put the survivability slot on this tank. Which means that you can put a turbo and a HP boost on this. But don't, because you're probably going to want to have vents, rammer, V-stab. That's just how it is. It just needs every single boost that it can get. It doesn't have the DPM. It doesn't have the kind of... The speed, I feel, is okay. 40 kilometers an hour is more than enough to get around the map. Especially for a heavy tank. Which we've said before, this is definitely a heavy tank. If this had, though, the field mods for the heavy tank, it would get more view range. It would get better suspension durability, or it would get better terrain resistance, which both are a valid choice for this tank. And not to mention that you wouldn't lose the dispersion value for moving your turret and stuff like that for the aim time. What I mean is that the aim time will be put down, but the aim circle will be decreased. So it's actually better to have the field mod, the heavy tank field mod for the aim in circle, than it is to have the medium tank field mod, if that makes sense. It's so weird to me that just one simple change and it could actually be a really, really nice tank to play. It really could. And I think the closest kind of comparison that you have to this tank is a Patriot. It really is very, very similar to a Patriot, but the Patriot just does everything better. And mainly because of that field mod. A Patriot with fully kitted out field mods is mental. It's great. It's just amazing. Because you can get that dispersion down. You can get that kind of better suspension durability and whatnot. But with this, you get none of that. You get nothing that makes you want to be, or makes you more durable in the battle. What you get is something that's designed for a medium tank, which this tank isn't. It's just not. Now let's see what we can actually do to these two, because we're getting well, we're not having a great time at the moment, are we? Let's see if we can block it with our gun, which is something that you can do in this tank. If you can hear my cat, I apologise. He's wanting attention, but he's not having it at the moment. And this guy's dead. Very nice. Okay. See, it's okay against tanks that aren't firing heat or anything like that. Like, Bizonte, I believe, has about 212 pen, I think. And against that, it's fine. It's more than capable. But if we were facing, say, a phase 1 there, one, I wouldn't be able to pen him with standard rounds. And even with premium rounds, I'm going to be struggling, actually. If you do own this tank and you're looking for pointers, I would definitely recommend that you always aim up whenever you're actually fighting people. Because if you do that, you're then hiding this cupola, which is the main source of where you're going to take damage. You just take the tracking shot from the Tiger 2. He's using the small gun, which is good information for us. Put one into the Barrask as he's running away. You can put one more in as well. Very nice. And then we back off, aim up. He actually went for underneath. As we've already established, that is not exactly the most well-armoured part of the tank. It's riddled with weak spots around the turret. But 1.9k in these kind of slower games, you see what I mean? When it has time to actually do something in the game, you can get some decent amount of damage out of it. But in those faster games, which are most of the time in those 15-3 games, those 15-0, those types of games, it's just not... It's not fast enough. And I believe that we are going to get overrun in a second. I think this Progetto is going to come up and say hello. Yeah, he's... If the Progetto's firing normal rounds, then we shouldn't be at too much of a risk, let's say. I'm just going to fire once. Try and bait this Tiger 2 around the corner. Very nice. And we can put one more in. Don't have the... He's coming round. I need this guy to push up. Progetto's coming here now. Okay. Nice. Get the repair on that as well. ELC is pushing, but we're okay at the moment. Someone's going to come around this corner. Hello, how you do? Put one into him. And the Tiger 2 is going to be around here and down. Or at least he should be. You can put one in. And Progetto 54 should finish him off. Someone might peek around the corner to try and get a shot on me. I'm just going to wait a second. And now we can push down. Turn our turret to the right just in case. No, we're okay. And now, Lorraine 40T is my next biggest threat. Tiger 2, we can actually go and deal with now though. He's probably going to go around. But we also need to be worried about the even 90. Because he... Okay, yeah, I think the even 90's coming. He is. He's fired that. But is the Tiger 2 pushing this way? I don't think that he should be. I mean, the Tiger 2 shouldn't be pushing this way. We bounced the Tiger 2, which is really good. Unfortunately, he's run off. Put one more in, and now we just hide. Good. We get lucky there. I should be dead, in all reality. I think he's going to jump off the cliff and die, though. He's only on 200 health. If he jumps off, he's probably dead. We'll find out. He made it. Okay. He actually made it down without dying. Okay. Well, respect to the even 90. Okay, so the Barrask is pushing up now. We should be able to shoot whatever he spots. Unless he's obviously behind this. But we also can't really push forwards because we're now at a difficult situation. Okay, well, I went to go and shut my door and the Lorraine 40T got killed by the Barrask. Barrask has got himself into a good position there. I don't think that we're going to be able to spot the AMX. Or the G-Saw for that matter. But they probably run off. And the thing is, I'm not really going to be able to spot the even 90 before he shoots me. Even 90's that way. Okay, that's actually really, really good information for us. Put one in. We might be able to make this. I don't know. No. Well, we tried. It wasn't really too much we could do on that amount of health, unfortunately. I've tried to go for the extra tracking shot, but it missed. I mean, at that point, I should have probably gone down to the right. But at that point, if you go to the right here, then I'm also in trouble if anyone's up around here, because they'll probably end up trying to blind fire. I don't know, or I should have just gone back. It's still possible to win this. It's just that we don't really have the health. I swear, it's always the same. Like, you start doing something. Does anyone else get this? You start doing something, and he will start to ring you. The cat starts meowing. Like, chill out. Alright? It was nice and peaceful when I started. And all of a sudden, I want to record a video. Oh, thunderstorm, air raid sirens, anything else that wants to go off? Like... Alright, well, this is going to end in a draw by the looks of things. You know what? All in all, that's not a bad result for the Super Pershing. I'm happy with that. We didn't play perfectly, I'm not going to lie. We probably shouldn't have died at the end, but, you know, I misplayed. It's fine. It happens. I don't think that we were going to win even if I didn't die, but, yeah, the way that they were laid out, it was quite hard to actually beat that, because they were very, very well built into the, like the ridgeline at the back. But it just shows you, like, this is what can happen when the Super Pershing gets to be able to use its gun and it has a long enough time in the game to actually be able to do it. You can have good results in this tank, and the tank itself is not bad. As I said, it's just been left behind in the times, and with the recent updates to the field mods especially, it's just... I feel that the biggest buff that this thing could ever receive right now is that it gets put into a heavy tank. And some people will say no, and some people, you know, argue about that, but you would still get the survivability slot and the mobility slot. That's what you would get. Because this is classed as an assault medium tank. It would get exactly the same as a Renegade, a versatile heavy tank. That's what it would be. It wouldn't be one of these breakthrough heavy tanks. So the field mods that you would actually get would give you, one, better durability for the suspension, or you could go for the maintaining the speed and terrain. Both of these are valid choices for the Super Pershing. I would probably go for this one because I don't feel like the terrain resistances are too bad. Although if you do -7, then it might, you know, not be so good. But then you get the aim time buff, or the aim circle buff. You could go -5% to aim time, or -3% to the aiming circle. And you should always choose the aiming circle, because aim time doesn't really matter, because as long as you have V-stab and the circle doesn't get very big, the aim time is never going to really be too bad. And then finally, you get a straight buff to the view range. Imagine the Super Pershing having these as their field mods, because currently it looks like this, +4% to hull and gun traverse. Right. An improved sight gives you 2% to aiming circle size. You think, okay, but that's just exactly the same as the Renegades one or the Heavy Tanks one. No, because this one increases the hull and just general dispersion of when you're moving forwards in the tank. I mean, as long as you have V-stab, I guess it's fine, but it'd be nice to just not have that, considering that the aim time on this tank is not actually too bad. And then finally, you could get concealment, or you could get a bit better reverse speed with a little bit better suspension repair speed. Like, these are just not what the Super Pershing needs. None of these, I feel, apart from this one maybe, actually help the Super Pershing in any way. Now, just to end this video, I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison just between a few of these. Now, you have the Super Pershing, we have the Pershing, Renegade, and Patriot. All of these have exactly the same layout and field mods and whatnot, or at least what I would put on them as well. So all of them are exactly the same. At the moment, the Super Pershing is closely, compared to the Patriot in my opinion. And compared to the Patriot, it's just a joke. Like, much more DPM, 300 more DPM, better penetration, and exactly the same alpha. You shave off about 1/6 of a second on the reload time alone, just by it being a Patriot. And I mean, what would really make this tank is that it got a little bit of a buff to maybe be in line with the Patriot. Give it about, maybe 2.5k DPM, and then give it heavy tank status. I mean, you can buff the average pen a bit, sure, maybe, but honestly, the penetration is okay, especially in nowadays world of tanks, where you can fire premium rounds because the premium rounds don't cost gold anymore. But it would be nice to have a little bit more, but let's be honest, they're never going to do that probably. But when you think about it, 190 pen, it's okay on the Pershing because you're a medium tank. You go at 48, whereas the Super Pershing goes at 40. Exactly the same speed as the Patriot. The Patriot has arguably better armor, much more view range. I mean, camo rating, okay, great, but not that that matters. Like, let's be honest, you're going to be sitting in front of another heavy tank, probably in proximity range nearly. So it doesn't matter at all. So do I recommend this tank? Not in its current state. However, if it did get a redesignation to be in a heavy tank, I'd think about it. It would make this choice a lot harder, because you're not doing it because of crew training. I'm not just saying this like, oh, it makes it so much harder because now they're all heavy tanks and this was a medium tank and that was my crew trainer. I'm saying it because it's actually a heavy tank at the moment. If it got put into a heavy tank, it would actually make it very, very hard to choose between all three of these. Ignore the Pershing. Because although, yes, these are better, you never see tier 10s in this thing. So at the end of the day, if you want a Super Pershing right now, go and get a Patriot. Costs 8k bonds on the bond store, and it's a full-blooded tier 8 premium. Yes, you're going to meet tier 10s. Hopefully, RNG is nice to you, and you won't meet too many of them. But even if you chose a Super Pershing, you're still going to meet tier 9s, and those tier 9s feel like tier 10s. So, if you did enjoy this video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as it does all help me out greatly. And let me know what you think in the comments down below about the T26E4 Super Pershing, because, yeah, maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think that, no, I'm talking a load of rubbish. It's completely fine as it is, and they should never touch it. But considering that we have other, medium tanks in the game that are premiums, I feel it should be changed. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.